Hello, so my name is Riley Newoffer, and I'm currently in the Cultural Communications class where I have learned a lot of things this kind of whole semester, I guess. Today I'm kind of going to be talking about cultures in China. I chose China for my final because the Chinese culture kind of interests me in a way, so I thought I would do some research on it. So, to start, I'm going to kind of just be going off of my PowerPoint that I made. I can't show it on camera, but I'm just going to kind of go off of that and read that. So, one of the first things that I learned about the Chinese culture is that they don't casual date. Like, casual dating is not a real thing. So, in America, students or young women like me kind of think that we date whoever until we're ready to settle down. And some Americans date for fun, I guess. Where in China, if they date, they have to be considering marriage. Therefore, if a Chinese woman, for example, goes out on a date with a man, she has to be thinking that she's going to marry him, or else she should never have went out to eat. It's kind of, if we go out, we're getting married, per se. So, the next thing is that they have very conservative customs, meaning in China, they have gender roles. So in America, it's not really a gender role thing because here we say that men and women are equal. We play an equal part in jobs and workplaces, and just kind of we're just all equal here is basically the American way. And in China, they really look at the man being the head of the house and the woman being there to cook and clean. And so if a Chinese girl goes out to dinner with an American boy or American citizen, if that American guy did not pay for this Chinese woman's meal, he would be looked at as a very poor dating candidate. So they would put the word out that he doesn't, pay for the meals. He's not a respectable boyfriend or husband. And another really interesting fact that I found out was that if a guy or girl invites you to meet their parents, it's basically an engagement. And without getting on one knee and saying, "Will you marry me?" It's, "Hey, come meet my parents. We're getting engaged." So I thought that was really interesting. Another thing is marriage requirements. So I guess any American citizen who wants to marry a Chinese citizen in China, they would have to review the laws first because there are laws saying that, according to Bobby C. Chung, he's in the Chinese government and he's in a law office. He had said, these are his words. He said, American diplomatic and consular officers do not have the authority to perform marriages and are not required to witness the marriages of American citizens. The reason is because under the U.S. Constitution, the administration of civil affairs is one of the powers reserved for all the states. So any federal government employees are prohibited from that law, and therefore they cannot be basically at any wedding or anything that has to deal with getting married in China, which is kind of weird but understandable. So another thing that is kind of cool is family structure. So on my PowerPoint, I have a triangle, and it kind of shows the hierarchy of a family in China. And the most important family, or the most important member of the family, is the grandfather, and then the grandmother, then the father, and then the mother, and then the children. So The reason for that is the older you are, the more respected you are, because in their eyes, you've been here longer, you know what you're doing, like, we're gonna respect you. And it's different kind of with America as well, because men and women are looked at as the same, as equal. So it would be kind of hard to say, like, if the father or the mother came first, whereas in China, that's totally normal that the father comes before the mother. And also, it's very, very common in China to see families of multiple generations living in the same house or the same neighborhood, just because they are so very bonded with each other. Whereas in America, for example, my family, I have family that lives in Arizona, in Georgia, in Michigan, so we're kind of all over the place. And lastly, I want to talk about the music. So, actually, there was a discovery in China called the bone flute. And with the bone flute, it shows that music can be drawn back to 8,000 years ago. And over a long period of time, China basically created the best music out there. And they're still known today as one of the main nations that has great music. And it's also kind of in like anime and those cartoon kind of shows. But other than that, that is my presentation, and I have learned so much from this class and this research project. Thank you for the great year.